Channeled message.
You were cast as the cautionary tale, a living exhibit for the hesitant to point towards whenever they required a reason to remain stationary. Observe the price of departure. Observe the cost of self-reliance. Observe the fallout when you refuse to endure. The script required you to collapse, to validate the collective anxiety, to confirm the suspicion that self-betrayal is safer than sovereignty. You were meant to stay wounded enough to serve as a reference, diminished enough to be understood, and quiet enough to ensure no one else felt the need to move. That was the designated role, the warning, the failure, the existence to make others feel righteous about their own limitations. But you refused to fracture in a way they anticipated. You persisted. You chose. You evolved into a shape that offers no translation for those who build their identities on the altar of status. And now your life performs a dangerous function. It contradicts them. Because if you can walk away and flourish, then why are they still standing still? If you can trust your own pulse and not dissolve, what does that say about the fear they have mistaken for wisdom? You didn't just heal. You dismantled a shared theology, right? That is the source of their agitation. Not because you are mistaken, but you are proof. The tragedy was never your departure. The true tragedy would have been staying and mastering the art of your own diminishment, labeling it loyalty, labeling it love, calling it just the way things are. The tragedy would have been becoming manageable, becoming palatable, curating a version of yourself that required less truth to maintain. That would have been a waste. Not the distance, not the friction, not the price of refusing to abandon your own heart. People still invested in the illusion do not merely misunderstand you, right? They require you to be wrong. Because if you aren't, then everything they have labeled maturity reveals itself as fear with more expensive branding. Everything they call devotion begins to look like learned-term habit of self-abandonment. Every defense they have built buckles under the weight of a single inquiry. Why didn't I choose myself? That is a question most people are not equipped to answer. So they will rename you reckless, unstable, self-absorbed, lost, prideful, too much, anything but accurate, right? Because accuracy would be an indictment. Accuracy would force them to acknowledge how much of their own lives was negotiated under duress, how much truth they buried to remain included, and how long they have been surviving a cage while insisting it was a home. Right? So, no, it's not a misunderstanding. It is self-preservation. You didn't just exit a situation, you exposed it. You didn't just change your trajectory, you revoked the excuse. And now your presence radiates a truth they cannot comfortably ignore. That staying was also a choice. That is why they resist you. Not because you stumbled, but because you didn't. And that evidence doesn't inspire everyone. For some, it accuses. So, let them call it a mistake. Let them call it a rebellion. Let them call it whatever they want. Let them craft whatever narrative protects their horizon. It doesn't alter the reality of what has happened. You were never meant to be their warning. You are what happens when a soul ceases to negotiate with its own erasure. Not a lesson, not a tragedy, not a cautionary tale. A disruption. A boundary that was crossed and refused to be redrawn. Something that cannot be reduced, reframed, or repurposed to make smaller lies feel justified. You are not the story they tell to stay afraid. You are the one that makes fear look entirely insufficient.
End of message.